This club for the past 4 years. Today is taking another step toward the Silver Communicator Award. The requirement for the achievement is to complete speeches from 2 specialty items. This specialty speech is from one of Toastmaster International's manuals called the Successful Club Series, which is a set of presentations on the subject of quality club meetings. The title of this speech is Let's Go Evaluators. Please welcome Tim Gibson.
I had an opportunity to visit another Toastmaster club yesterday. Oh. Yes, I went behind your backs. A fellow co-worker of mine is interested in Toastmasters, and I suggested that she visit the club downtown, because we work downtown. She lives in the downtown area. She was a little intimidated to go to the club, and I said, well, I know Toastmasters well. I will go with you to this club. To introduce her, get her more comfortable in the environment, get her started down the path of being a Toastmaster. As I went to this meeting, I made several observations. Anytime that you go and visit another club, they do things a little differently. We all have to follow the general outline that Toastmasters has put before us, but each club does things a little differently. And what I had noticed was how the club was organized and how they ran their meeting. And I'm sorry to say, not as successfully run as we are. I had a bit of an epiphany. I thought, why is this club not succeeding as well as it could be? And it really has to do probably with the commitment of the members to the club. They had an agenda, much like we do, but at least half of the folks on the agenda did not show up for the meeting. And they had made a commitment to the club to be there on that date and didn't show up. No one knew where they were, just knew that they had not shown up for the meeting. Now, this happens occasionally. There are folks that something comes up and it can't be avoided, but half of the folks on the agenda didn't make the meeting. So that tells me that they're struggling a little bit in that club. And that's really what my presentation is about today. It's about the Toastmaster promise of keeping the commitment to the club. So all of you have a handout. If you'll turn to the first page, that's it. We'll talk about the promise. Promise to participate by, first of all, attending meetings regularly. This is an important commitment to Toastmasters because we've become dependent on one another for the success of our club. We all know we have busy schedules. We're all busy people. We all are, in some manner, wanting to succeed, or we wouldn't probably be in Toastmasters. So we're all driven people. We all have busy lives, busy schedules. But it is important if you make a commitment to be a member of the Toastmasters, also to attend as regularly as possible. Carefully preparing your speeches is also a very important part of that. Scott, obviously, very prepared this morning for a icebreaker. I'm sitting there going, wow, he was incredibly prepared. But it's also important that when you do these speeches, that you're prepared not just to give the speech, you're prepared to deliver your introduction to the Toastmaster. You're prepared to give your manual to your evaluator. And all the aspects of that preparation are in place. You're prepared to tell the timer how much time you require for your speech. Everything that you need to do, you've addressed prior to the meeting and coming in and ready to go. Finally, fulfilling all your assignments. It is really crucial for every Toastmaster meeting that we all fulfill our individual assignments to the best ability that we can. For those that have to perform functionary roles, this includes being on time for the meeting. This includes filling out the forms, giving them to our secretary at the conclusion of the meeting. It's really all the roles that you're prepared to do and make sure you fulfill the assignment, because we're all dependent on one another for the success of our meetings, the success of our clubs. Turn to your next page. Another aspect that's very important to Toastmasters is really to aid your fellow Toastmasters. We're all at different stages of our lives. We're all at different stages of success in Toastmasters. We have new members. We have members that have been here for a while. We have members that have various levels of understanding and experience in how the meetings go. So it's important that we all help each other. And that starts with helpful evaluations. We've all sat in these meetings, we understand what we're supposed to do as evaluators when we have to perform that role. And it's to offer encouragement. If you remember my speech last week, I talked about this confrontational presentation I was in. It wasn't very encouraging. Matter of fact, it was very demeaning in some aspects. But it's really important that we provide positive feedback and also helpful feedback. It's not just okay to say, oh, you did a great job. That's what we should say. But at the same time, we say, well, you know, I'd work on this a little bit. And promoting a positive environment is an important aspect of that as well. No one wants to come into a meeting and be lectured to or to have anything presented to them in a demeaning way, or to walk out of the meeting going, gosh, you know, that was tough. I didn't really enjoy that very much. We want to be here in a very positive environment, so we should give positive feedback to everyone. At the same time, give some energy. I mean, we want to give some energy to folks for their daily lives. And sometimes I come to Toastmasters and go to work, and I'm like, I'm really pumped up. I'm ready to go to work. I'm not feeling the goodness there. I feel like really motivated to jump in there and do something. We need to serve as officers in the club. Everyone is asked at some point to become an officer, and it does take additional time, and it is challenging sometimes to fill some of the officer roles. Our president here has definitely stepped up to the plate, taking swings at things. He's doing a great job. And when we have guests, it's really important that we all treat our guests with a lot of courtesy and respect, because obviously we wish to grow the club. So when someone comes into the meeting, they need to feel welcomed by everyone, not just the VP of membership. It's not just the VP's membership's job to greet the new guests. It's everyone's responsibility to greet the person, introduce themselves, make them feel welcome, because again, we wish to have a successful club and to have a healthy club. There will be people that leave us for various reasons, but at the same time, we have people that are coming in as well. We need to invite guests. We need to bring people into the club. Finally, the last page. We want to maintain our club quality. And this begins with, of course, as I just mentioned, bringing guests in. It's really important that you look at people that you know, maybe your neighbors, maybe a coworker, and kind of make some determination. You think, you know, could Toastmasters benefit them? You know, do they live in this area? Will they be a person that might be able to come to our meetings, you know, because they live in the area? Or we're also a breakfast club, so we're probably looking at people that live somewhere in the Altamont area. We're not bringing people from across town to, well, okay, there are some exceptions. But generally speaking, we're probably looking for people that you know, probably your neighbors or coworkers that are in this area and would be interested in attending a meeting and are early risers and get up in the morning. We need to follow our guidelines and rules. It's really important that we maintain a sense of decorum, follow the procedures that we've set in place for the meeting. Let our Toastmaster lead the meeting. He is the person responsible for the organization of it. And try not to trip them up by making some changes at the last second. We tripped them up a little bit today. And finally, we need to make sure that we observe all the ethical standards that are put in place for us, for Toastmasters. And to help each of you remember what the Toastmaster rules are and the guidelines, I have brought a handy-dandy pocket card for each of you. So I'll pass those out now. And these are the Toastmaster Promise. And it will remind you of all the things that we've talked about today and to help reinforce what your commitment to the club is and move our club forward as we become more and more successful. And as people in this community know who the articulators are. Thank you very much.